Everyone relax. This is TOFOP. I'm Charlie Clausen.
I'm Al Anderson. Hello, and thank you for watching.
Iona got these board games like for her birthday, a whole bunch of different board games. And there's one that's like a matching game, like it's a card game where you look for pairs of things. And it's based on this series of books called Little People, Big Dreams, where they take famous people from history, important people.
Also, that just feels like a terrible, like e-reality show from like the
Little
90s,
People, Big
2000s.
Dreams.
Yeah, Little People with Big Dreams, and it's about like a
Little
group of
people
like
who wanna go to
diminutive
the
people who want to like
astronauts.
become right.
So it's all like famous.
You can imagine the pitch.
Yeah.
Little People,
Big Dreams. What do you think?
What?
2 words. Well, it's actually 4. I mean, okay. Forget it. Anyway, so this particular Little People, Big Dreams is all famous sort of like feminist icons or important women, Marie Curie and Frida Kahlo and so we're playing the game. And so the card game is it's like it's them as a kid and them as a grown-up. You pair them up and then you read a fact about who this person was.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah, right. And so we're playing the game and Iona's really good with their memory. So, you've got all the cards face down. You turn one over, you try and remember where the other one is, and you pair them up and you learn a fact about this important female person. And so I'm reading about Frida Kahlo and, and they're written for kids. So, and like drawn. And then I turn one over, I can't remember the woman's name, but it's like this equal rights activist. And her little bio, it's like, when she was 17, she saw a black man being beaten by police. And but I'd already started.
And loved it.
And I started reading, and I could see Jem in the kitchen, and she's staring at me. But like, I didn't have enough like wherewithal to change. And then I'm like, but this is real.
Yeah,
like I can't.
It's a fact.
It's a fact. Like,
Yeah.
and I can't. I mean,
it's also not a historical fact. It's a thing that still happens.
No, but we're at this stage of her development where it's like we're teaching her to trust the police and like the police are your friends and all this kind of stuff. And
They
it's
are
like,
bad messages. You should not trust the police. They are not your friends.
I just didn't know what to do. And then like Jem was like, she's making like eyes at me, and I'm like, what do I do? And then I was waiting for Iona to have a follow-up question about like, why were the police beating that man? Aren't the police our friends? And I was like, well, it's a complicated relationship. And there's like things called like institutionalized racism and all this kind of stuff. Never got to that point. She didn't say a thing. But what I know about kids is they store that information away and then it will come out at some later point. Like she'll be watching Paw Patrol, in which one of the pups in that animated series is a cop, and she'd be like, is he going to go beat a black man?
Yeah.
That dog.
A black dog. Yeah. He's going to beat the black dog, which is actually
Depression.
a really positive
It's
message about Are You Okay Day? Yeah, I mean, that must be a difficult thing as a parent to work out how much of the real world, because like Cops is a good example. So
Cops come to her daycare and like do talks on stranger danger and all that kind of stuff.
oh mate, we're like kindergartens and daycares and primary schools are hotbeds of propaganda.
Oh, totally.
Like this is the time in your life that you are being told about the police and how important and protective they are. And the truth of it is that for most people, I think, that is something that they carry with them throughout their entire lives. I think there are some people who you shouldn't criticize the cops in any circumstance. They are the people we
Back
call...
the blue no matter who.
Yeah. When we are in trouble, they are the people we call, therefore we're willing to overlook
the structural inequities.
the institutional racism, the long history of it being something that was
Corruption.
established by the ruling class to protect their property rather than for the benefit of all people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I think for a lot of people, they just say the cops are the people who protect you when you need to be protected. And when you're raising a child, in a general sense, that is something that I imagine is pretty good to tell them, because if they are in trouble in a situation, the best person for them to go to is still probably a cop.
Well, even for me, like if something happens, if I came home and someone had broke into the house, I'm not
You're
like
not calling me.
Oh, yeah,
So I
Will.
better call Will firstly.
I don't want those corrupt, institutionally racist to come around and investigate. Like,
No, I'll drop a message into the TOFOP group chat and see what they think before we call the cops.
well, I've been doing. I'm working on this. I can't really say too much about it. I'm working on a project at the moment where one of the themes or one of the elements of it is police corruption. And the journalist I was talking to, well, I've been doing this research with, has written this book all about it. And I was saying to him, like, what motivated you to write this book? And he was saying, because I was seeing a lot of stuff about these, cops being, is it venerated? Is it the word? Celebrated.
Yeah, sure.
And he was like, this is fucking bullshit. Like, because he was a crime reporter and he was on the beat and he was talking to everyone and he knew that the way this situation was being portrayed was not what was really happening.
Well, no, because there was so much corruption in the police
But
force.
at the same time, he was saying, but generally speaking, his interactions and his dealing with the police is like, it sounds like a cliche, but it's like he's gone, it's just a lot of people are in that because they want to do right.
Yeah.
But the people who exploit it and take advantage of it do it to such an extent that it has a corroding
Like
influence.
politics.
Yes.
Many people who get into politics in the first place get into politics for good reasons. But there is such an institutionalized corruption inherent in the entire system that
You can't possibly change
it's
it.
hard to avoid it.
Yeah. There's no Mr. Anderson goes to Canberra.
Well, I hope that there is still. And I hope it's the
if
same.
Peter
with-
Garrett couldn't do it, then who could?
Yeah, it's a good point. David Dixon from Indecent Obsession.
You have to listen to our last episode to get that reference. I mean, that is depressing though, isn't it? I mean, I understand it too from if you run any organization and you have one fucked employee, it ruins everything, right? Like, it doesn't matter how stringent you are as the boss or, the rules and regulations, procedures you put in place. If you've got someone in there who is just going to flaunt those regulations and rules and operate on their own and, endanger their co-workers or compromise their co-workers, you're still responsible, even though you didn't actually do it. You've created the framework in which that person could operate, without any guardrails, then that's your problem.
Yeah, but also then how much responsibility do you have? So, without going into too much of the details, but this is the Patreon bonus stuff. The bookkeeping company that handle a lot of, my sort of accounting stuff, they are an entertainment industry specific, so mostly they handle bands and stuff. And if people wanted to have a look in the newspapers, they'd be able to quickly identify them based on this story, because one of their accountants ripped off millions of dollars from a whole bunch of recording artists. It made big news. There was a huge trial, whatever. And they had to, I imagine they lost a lot of clients. I didn't, it didn't specifically concern me, and it wasn't anyone who was to do with my stuff, but it was the same company that this guy worked within. And the people that I'd worked with had always been very trustworthy and great and whatever. But I know there would have been people at the time who were just like, well, we're leaving this entire company because you let this happen on your watch. And I, in the end, decided that, I just won't let them have control of any of my bank accounts, because in the old days they could pay a bill on my behalf or whatever it might be. But now it's all, they'll have to send me a thing and I'll have to do it. And I am annoyed by that system.
So annoying.
The other way was heaps easier. But that happened. And you do worry that you're like, well, how much of this is on me too? If I had been ripped off in this way, I would have been paying no attention,
Of course.
to work it out, right? Because I just would have trusted that they were doing the right thing.
I mean, you're trusting that I'm using these Patreon funds to keep the show on air, that I'm not buying myself a Lamborghini.
Well,
imagine that if I rock
But
up.
it's funny that I do trust that,
Yeah.
but I've never done any digging into it.
Yeah.
You could be
funding my
funding your renovations that you keep saying, oh, we don't have enough money for these renovations. Oh, gee, the Patreon money's not going very well at the moment.
You go on Instagram, I'm living this like Andrew
it's
Tate
like-
style
Yeah,
lifestyle.
the audience can never understand why we're complaining. They're like, you've got thousands and thousands of like...
Charlie just bought a new Bugatti.
I don't know what you're talking about. Are you on Charlie's Insta? This was a bad time for you to go off social media. Charlie's living at large. You're like making it rain at the
But
club.
I'm the same as you though. Like
Yeah.
you saying that is like, yeah, my accountant, like, we run our business through our accountant, and like he pays everything. Like I mean, I'm assuming he's paying like our super and everything like is funneled through him. But I haven't stopped once to sort of double check to make sure that the money is going where he says it's going. I just assumed it is. I should probably do that.
Right. But again, it's so often we have faith in the institution because we don't have the time to do it all ourselves.
And we don't
and it's almost
understand it.
impossible. We don't understand it.
Yeah.
And often it is made so that we don't understand it. It is made difficult so we don't understand it, so that we have to get somebody else involved in the process.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this, so I haven't had a TV for a year, but I'm thinking about coming back into the world of television. And I was thinking that I was like, I think I will try. I'm going to try to set up my TV myself this time instead of last time I got like someone in to set it up. And then what I found was that anytime something went wrong or I didn't know how something worked, it was so hard for me to work it out because I wasn't the person who set it up. But I know it's also going to be annoying and hard and like for me to learn how to set it up. And so it's that bit there where you're like, to be able to, like, I haven't read the car, like the manual. I've had my car now for 4 years and I haven't read the manual.
Yeah.
I've mostly put together how to use most of the stuff that I need to use on a daily basis, but it was mostly through just mashing buttons until the thing I wanted to happen happened. I've never looked it up in the manual. I'm sure that, if I did the work, there would be things in there that it's like every phone I have or every computer I have. I'm like, this can do so many things and I do none of them.
Everything like I need help with. You talk about the renovation. So they're almost virtually done. The last thing I had to do was do some landscaping, to replace the lawn and, a couple of garden beds and things like that. And I just had, like, I watched all these videos and I'm like, I don't know, because everyone's giving me different advice. And then my mate Sean, who lives in town, I spoke to him and he's like, oh yeah, no, it's simple. And so I said, would you mind, like, could you come around and just help me or just at least give me some advice? And he has been so helpful. Like I have had him around, like he's around at my place virtually every day last week, just physically helping me do the stuff, but also like advising and then giving, like at one point he was looking at the garden. It's like, yeah, this is great. You know what you should do is like, you should put a post in there and then another one there and then run a couple of lines and then grow some like, flowers through here. And I was like, yeah, that sounds, how do I do that? Like, so honestly, like I think that sounds great, but I don't even know. Do I dig a hole? How do I dig the hole? Like, do I dig it with a shovel? Like, is there a tool for that? Yeah. And then he was like, oh no. And he said, it's all very simple. And I said, no, but this is the thing. It's simple for you.
It's simple because you know what to do.
Because you know what to do, but you've also done this before. Like he built his own deck at his place. It's not even his job. He's just a handy guy who understands how this stuff works. But it was funny. At one point we were putting new sleepers, like step sleepers down the side. And, we had the chainsaw. I've had this chainsaw that someone gifted me about 3 years ago. I haven't used it once because I turned it on. I was like, it's making noise, but I'm scared. But I turned it on, but also like it was like, but the blade wasn't turning. And because he said, oh, how are we going to cut through these sleepers? You got a chainsaw? I said, I do, but I think it's broken because someone gave it to me. And he's like, no, it's just the guard's on, and turn the guard off. And it's saying like it was that simple. And then I was watching him cut through the sleepers and cutting to size and he's like, do you want to go? I'm like, no. You can do it. And then I was like,
you do it?
This is what it's like having a dad. Like, it's been so long since I've had a dad. It's like, is this what it's like? Like,
Can you be my dad?
I'm actually older than he is.
Yeah.
But I was like, all just the handyman and the reassurance he gave me, and we can sort this out, no problem, we'll get this done. And we got all this stuff done around the house, and I was just
that, by the way, is this? I mean, I'm sure this is already a business. It's kind of hire a hubby, right? But what about dial a dad?
Dial a dad.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But we branch out, and it's not just for
physical stuff.
Yeah.
It's like advice.
advice.
No nonsense advice.
Yeah, I'm thinking about getting a home loan. What do I do?
Yeah.
And your dad just comes around and gives you some dad advice. I'm seeing this new guy, but I got like
Bricks and mortar, mate.
Yeah.
Invest in bricks and mortar.
Yeah, and
you
dad
don't-
just comes around and gives
I
you
don't
some
trust this
advice.
crypto shit.
Yeah.
It's all made up.
It's tax time, and I don't know what to. And you just style a dad, and
But
they give you dad style advice.
I feel like there's certain dads who would have a lot of that shit covered. I don't think we'd need to specialize in, this is the investment dad.
Oh no, I agree with that. Like I
We
mean,
just
we can't
find a
afford we can't afford
well-rounded-
specialists. No, this is a generalist service,
Yeah.
like a home handyman.
retired-
but this is like good job for retirees.
A retiree who's
Yeah.
will interview them,
Yeah.
and they've done some. They've got to have like competent levels of handyman, money
life
management, life
yeah.
advice,
general sort of.
that kind of thing of like they're progressive but not necessarily like lefty. So it's like I don't know. As long as they meet someone nice, I don't care who they love.
Yeah, that's
something
right.
like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
You know what I
totally.
mean?
Yeah.
Like not fully, it's just
Yeah.
nicely.
Which one's the man though?
Yeah.
I don't mind it.
Moderate.
But which one's the man?
I mean, yeah, you would just like the way they're marketing. What's his name? Tim Walz, the Democratic Party. It's like, he's America's dad. It's what we want, an Australian.
I feel like
version
this
of
is
that.
exactly the vibe that we're going for in this. So reassuring, good in all company.
Yeah,
But that's what I mean. That general advice of like, can I go out of the house in this?
yeah,
This is someone who's going to be like, well, you can, but you're going to bloody freeze yourself. So,
yeah. I can't get my car started.
yeah.
What do I need to do? And he can tell you over the phone. Have you checked this? The spark plug.
I mean, I think it's also that general sort of, this is how you change the oil. This is how you change your tires. Like
Yeah.
the sort of stuff that is just general.
I get the feeling we don't even need to hire like a real person. I reckon we could do this with AI, and we pay Brian Brown
Uh-huh.
to license his voice.
Okay.
And the AI, because my mate who's teaching himself how to be
Do you think he sounds the most reassuring as a dad?
Brian Brown. Yeah, I've worked with Brian
Yeah.
Brown. He does have that kind of. Did I ever tell you my Brian Brown story about him? So I did this show a year ago or a couple of years ago, I can't remember, called Darby and Joan, which is him and Greta Skarkey. They're like these grey nomads who go to town and solve mysteries. I had a little guestie on that.
Sure.
And in the episode I was in, he and Greta Skarkey arrive at this town where they have to get these jobs working at the pub while they're getting their car fixed. And so I was just hanging out on set, sitting next to the director chatting, and Brian was behind the bar, and they're doing the scene, and the director's sort of watching Brian, and she's like, "Hey, Brian, you don't remember any of that stuff from Cocktail, do you?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah, sure." And so he starts flipping the bottles around and like catching them and stuff. And everyone on set just stopped and was like, "Whoa, like, that's so cool. It's fucking Cocktail. It's Brian Cocktail Brown."
I mean, that's pretty amazing. When Lima and I were doing the radio show together, we wanted to get a new, because you know how the paints, like at Taubman's or whatever, will have like different names for the colours. We wanted to get one called Brian Brown, and we tried to get Brian Brown on board, and he was not into the idea.
Really? I mean, I'm sure he's never heard anything like that before.
No.
All right, so not Brian Brown, but
Yeah.
something like that, like like just a dependable Aussie,
Yeah.
older male
Yeah, I like it.
who's got that,
Just reassuring.
like man a few words kind of thing.
Yeah, but you respect it.
But what I'm saying is we get AI because my
Yeah.
mate who's teaching himself, my mate made a bit of money. He's a doctor, made a bit of money, sort of semi-retired. He's bought some land. He's teaching himself how to farm. He wants to have a
Okay.
self-sufficient kind of
All
farm
right.
for him and his family. And I asked him how it was going, and he's like it's fucking very challenging. Like he's got no experience with any of this. But he said what's been amazing is he has Chat GPT, but the premium level. And so he's like, honestly, like his tractor broke down, and so he just went on to Chat GPT and said, "Hey, I have this model of tractor. This is the issue. What should I do?" And Chat GPT talked him through how to fix his tractor. Open this panel. Remove one of these. If that's okay, put it back in. Go over here. And he said he's got his tractor finished. So if we do that, but we have the voice of Brian Brown, it's like, hey, what are we calling it? Dollar Dad. Hey, Dollar Dad. I've got $5,000 I want to invest. Should I put it into stocks or should I put it in crypto? And then the AI is like,
Just like, crypto's rubbish, mate. It's bloody nonsense.
it's made up.
Yeah.
Made up. Bricks and mortar.
Yeah, bloody buy some land. Land never goes down in value, mate.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. See ya.
So,
See ya, son.
say it. Say it, son. Oh, it says son.
I mean, I think you could do that, right? No, you don't like the idea.
I don't
of it
like
being
the idea
AI.
of getting AI involved, though. Like, I like this. This was, to me, was more an opportunity to, like, engage older members of the, like, people who are not feeling necessarily valued
Valued.
by society anymore.
I know, but
Because-
that's going to cost us money. This way, we'll save a fortune.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. But that is every conversation that's going to happen around AI. Yeah, but it'd be cheaper to do AI. And then everyone
better
will be
advice.
like, oh, well, I guess we're just going to do that.
And less
then.
chance of the
Yeah.
of the person going rogue and
human
saying something
element.
racist or like, well, to believe the Chinese weren't buying so much land, it'd be fine. You can afford it. All right.
All right.
Okay. And then we're getting sued.
Every day. It's always ruined on the first day.
In my day, there was men and women.
Dad.
It's like, I guess if we're training the AI, though, the AI might pick up on that. If we're like, you need to approximate like boomer
Yeah.
males,
Yes.
the AI
All
suddenly
the
starts-
available information it's drawing from will contain. It'll be more racist than. We'll actually have to go back to the analog
It'll be
dads.
super racist.
Because the AI will be so racist.
I do like that idea though. Reassuring dad, and then we could franchise it because then you could have reassuring mum. So what's not dial a mum? It'd be like, mum's your chum, or chummy mummy, or
Oh, chummy mummy sounds like it'd be.
like a Pornhub site.
Yeah, it does.
But like best friend, you could get some best friend advice. You know,
Is it?
footy coach.
Yeah.
Tough Love, the Tough Love channel, where it's like, I need someone to tell me the truth.
Yeah.
Should I invest in crypto?
Okay.
No, you fucking idiot. It doesn't mean anything. It's
I mean,
worthless.
that is actually. Now I can see what you're saying. It's quite appealing. Is that idea that you could go to a website, for example,
And
and you're like,
select
here's my question.
Yeah.
My question is.
answer in the form of
Yeah, and then so you've got these like avatars, these icons that you can click on. That's like
what happened to
you
you?
can click on.
Suddenly speak Arabic? What's going on?
Sorry. Oh, yeah, so now you've said the racist thing. You're the racist dad. That you can click on, and they give advice in that theme.
Yes.
So you're like, here's dad advice, or here's footy coach advice.
Yeah. Here's best
Yeah.
friend advice. I mean, how would you could sort of tailor it? Because sometimes it's just like I used to see this therapist, and the thing I liked most about her was it was actually just the tone of her voice. Like she could deliver me the most upsetting or a reality shattering insight,
Yeah.
but because she had such a calm tone, it was a bit like Hal from 2001. It'd be like, you realize your inability to form connections with people
Yeah.
is based on trauma.
So it's not as good as if it's like, you're codependent.
Yeah, exactly. Grover. I mean, I guess
You have trust issues.
it's not dissimilar to like GPS when people get the navigation system to use voices. What voice? I mean, I guess I do think about it often, like because I grew up, not really having a dad around for my sort of formative teen years. I often think that when I started making friendships, a lot of my friends were older than, like male friends were older than me. And I think subconsciously maybe I was like looking for a bit of guidance or they're a bit older so they can, give me some life advice. So I wonder if I could relive like my teens. Like I'm not going to put this burden on, maybe it's, we've hired some boomer, but if it was AI, maybe I could I could catch up on the, 8 years of fathering that I missed out on by just having the perfect dad to suddenly give me all the advice I never got when I was from the ages of 10 to 18.
I do think there's some value in, because I think if
Let's go outside and play catch.
I think if at this age there was a course that I could do in basic life skills, like
How to shave.
okay, so it's funny that you mentioned that because for a few things recently I've had to close shave, and I haven't close shaved for about 15 years minimum.
Sucks.
And like, I don't really know what the best way to close shave is. Like, I don't know if I know they've added extra blades. I don't know. Like, I bought some fancy like shaving cream, but I don't feel like I'm using it properly. I feel like
Are
it's
you
not.
steaming the pores before you?
I mean, I have like I put a hot towel
Yep.
on my face.
That's
Is
good. Good
that what I'm
start.
meant to do?
Yes.
And then what would you do next? See, this is good. This is us
This is
doing
life
it.
advice.
This
Okay.
is yeah.
Well, because I'm like you. I very rarely close shave, and when I do it myself, I always get ingrowns. It's very painful and stuff. So I normally go to a barber if I have to get a close shave. And from what they do, yeah, it's leave a hot towel on for about like 5 minutes until the pores open up, and I think it
Right.
also softens.
I do it for about 5 seconds.
No,
Do you think that's
not,
enough?
Not long enough.
Okay.
You want to open the pores up, and you want to soften the hair follicles, I think, as well. And then it's a very light shaving cream or lubricant. Some people use shaving oil instead of actually.
So I shouldn't be like lathering it on like I'm like
putting a beard on like
a
Santa
beard,
Claus.
like a Santa.
No.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you can, but I think it's going to be harder for you to see where you're going.
Yeah.
What is this for TV?
Yeah, partly, yes.
Can't you just go to a barber
I could,
the
yes.
day before filming and get them to do it?
I mean, yes, absolutely I could do that. But I
Except
just
they
thought
don't
it was
have
something
time.
that I could do by myself in my
Yeah,
own
you-
convenient time.
You could. I just
haven't done it for so long that I've been. So here's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
I've been like I've got whatever this shaving cream is. I think I've been putting too much on based on what you've said. And
just a
then
thin layer.
yeah, I've got like a new razor, but I don't even know like how.
And then the aftercare is that is the thing. So you're meant to be
Okay.
going with the.
You know what I've been
you don't
doing for
shave against
aftercare?
You don't shave against the grain.
Nothing. I've been
Right.
doing no aftercare at
No,
all.
you do need to put on some kind of balm, and I'm not
balm?
sure what it is. Not a disinfectant, but there is one that because that will stop the pores closing up.
All right.
And because what happens when you shave, this is from my
This is
understanding,
good.
is that so you want to show. So if you look at my beard,
Yes.
it grows in a direction. So even though it goes across my face, like the hair actually all grows in one direction. So
Yeah.
I don't want to shave this way because that's going against the grain, which means I'm folding the hairs over, which means
Okay.
they'll grow back into my skin
All right.
and create ingrowns. So
Interesting.
I always want to shave in one direction. So I go, what's this? You're right. Yeah, you're right.
But do you mean hang on? What? Hang on. What you just
So-
did one direction across your entire face.
Pretty much because my hair
What?
grows in one direction. Look, see the hair all grows like that.
What the
there.
fuck are you talking about? Is that right?
Well, I mean, it's there.
I always just thought that it was like you kind of
This
do
is just.
both
I don't know.
sides and then into
Yours
the
might be.
middle.
Yours might be different.
What do you think mine does? Look at my face.
Fucking hardly any hair.
Okay.
But the idea, look, it doesn't matter. Whatever direction your hair grows in, you just don't want to shave it. It's like don't.
I just
go
assumed
against
that
the
it all
grain.
grew into the middle.
I mean, maybe it does. I just know with my hair, it all like the cheeks kind of go down like that, but
Right.
everything else grows in like.
But you've done like a swipe
like a
across
sweep,
your face.
yeah, like a cow lick across my face.
Interesting.
Yeah, so if I was to shave that way,
Yeah.
I would get heaps of ingrown hairs in my
Right.
neck. So I always have to shave like that direction.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So that would be my first thing
Wow.
is like find out what direction your hair grows in. Second, thin layer of shaving cream, steam beforehand, and then third, you need to find out what kind of aftershave. Aftershave is not good because that dries the skin out
Yeah.
and stings. But there are really good like balms and
Some sort
oils.
of balm.
Yeah, because you want to keep the hair follicles soft, so that if you do get an ingrown hair, you can actually just like coax it out because plucking an ingrown hair is the worst fucking thing out of your
See,
neck.
okay, so this is exactly a good example of the sort of thing that we could have.
Plus, the Chinese are buying too much property.
You know, he doesn't need to bloody shave against the grain, if you know what I'm saying. I don't know what you're saying. What are you saying? Probably something racist. Okay, that's interesting to me. So if there was a place I could go to that had that sort of thing, just
Yeah,
a
a
general
barber shop.
amount of, no, I'm just talking like a course
In
in,
general.
how to be an adult.
Life skills,
All the
yeah.
stuff that you did get taught when you were growing up, but you just didn't pay enough attention to at the time because you're like, I never need to know this.
Yeah, yeah. No, I definitely. I mean, that's what I mean. Yeah, it's dial a dad. There's so much stuff I don't understand, and because I grew up the youngest of a big family, And like Gemma always makes fun of me for this, but I say like, this is my, is that I always had stuff done for me because I was the youngest. So I never learned how to replace the chain on my bike. I never learned how to do this or do that because I always had an older sibling.
I've got no idea how to replace a chain on a bike. If I had a bike and the chain came off, I'd have to throw the
it in the
bike
river.
away.
You're that guy.
I'd have to walk it to the nearest river and throw it in.
I mean, I'm actually getting better and better at all that kind of stuff. But cars, for instance, are a fucking mystery to me. I had to replace, like, the electronics went out in the Jeep, and so I had to replace the fuse. And that was like, I found the manual, found the fuse box in the car, and then had to go through and find out exactly which one I like, replace the actual fuse and all that kind of stuff. And I got that working, but that was, to me, that's me at the operating at the optimum top level of my mechanics. If it was like an actual mechanical issue, like what's a carburetor do?
This is exactly what I want in my course.
Okay.
Like it's essentially all the things you've been pretending that you kind of know how they work will actually just tell you how they work.
Well, this friend of mine, Sean, how's this, right? So we've just, you know how when you go into my place, if you on the front lawn, there was like that old shed with the barn doors. Remember that? So I've converted that into, it's going to be my new office, right? But it's very echoey for podcasting. And so I've been working out like, could I build some kind of soundproofing that I can put on my desk? So when we pod, like, so I've got all that soundproofing from the old studio. I was like, well, maybe I'll build like a little hood. So like side panels and a little roof that I can just put over my laptop and the microphone so the sound's not bouncing everywhere. And so I have no idea how to build that. Like, I mean, I say it, I know what I want it to look like, but I have no idea. And so Sean comes over, my dad, and I say to him, look, this is what I'm thinking. And he's like, oh yeah, it's easy. Just like, a couple of bits of 2x4 and some plywood. And I'm like, could you do it for me? He's like, yeah, no problem. And then he said, but you know what you should do? And I'm like, what? And it's like, well, you got that really high ceiling up there. Why don't you put up a couple of pulleys and we build you like an entire dome, and then you can just lower it like Maxwell Smart, like a cone of silence.
I see suddenly he's like your Michael Caine in the Prestige.
Yeah.
He's the guy who's coming up with all your magic tricks for you.
I was like, I don't know if that's going to fly, but like, that's just like, he's very practical and he understands like, oh yeah, you could do that, but then.
Yeah, he knows what you could actually do. So he is able to like suggest things because he knows what is or isn't possible. Whereas to me, I wouldn't even know what to start suggesting.
So the last few podcasts we've done, if you could see behind the camera, I have a big like sheet of soundproofing precariously leaning against my desk with bricks because I'm trying to hold it upright. Because there's a couple of times I've been like setting up and it's fallen on my head. And I'm like, I hope that doesn't happen during a recording. So I do need something. But I also feel like maybe the police system is a bit too much.
Too much?
Yeah, I just wanted something that I can just whip up, put under my desk and then whip out for, the occasion.
Just a cone of silence style.
Well, it's only 2 guys, 1 cup.
Yeah.
Because we're doing this in person now. So it's only really like once a week during footy season that I need a cone of silence. I don't know I need a
just the
cone of
giant
silence lowered,
contraption.
like the steel cage at WrestleMania, lowering
Saw
from the
style.
ceiling. Yeah, some kind of death trap.
Yeah, but it would be cool to have that.
It would be cool. It'd also be cool to have like just the skills to not have to ask someone. I mean, that's the thing is I learn stuff and then I forget it.
Yeah. Well, because if you're not doing it all the time, that's the problem. You do actually learn how to do something, but then it is so long in between the time you did it last time and the time you have to do it the next time.
Well, I built this shed. Did I tell you about the prefab shed? So because I moved everything out of, my new office used to be our old shed. So I moved everything out of there and put a shed in the carport. And
so your office got demoted to shed, and then the shed got demoted to prefabricated garden shed.
Exactly.
Yep.
So the studio got demoted to shed, and the shed got demoted to garden shed. But there's this company called like Easy Shed, and on the website it's like, hey, we just send you all the parts and you just bolt it together.
You make your own shed.
It was not easy, Will.
Really?
Oh my God. Like it came like this big truck delivered all these like giant kind of aluminium panels.
Yeah.
And like I'm not even joking. I reckon I put in close to 300 rivets, just like had to bolt together all these panels to put it. So put all the panels together. But then like the way they advertise it's like, hey man,
Yeah.
it's like
You
fucking,
got a door.
do you like
got a shed.
Yeah, do you like Lego? This is the same shit, dude.
Yeah.
And then every tradie who was coming to the house to do working on the renos was like, oh man, those fucking things
sheds.
suck. One builder like had PTSD when he saw me
it's
doing it.
like,
It's like,
oh, no.
someone hired me to put one of those together. It took me 3 days with
man.
all my like Ozito tools. And there I'm with my fucking little Ryobi Fisher Price drill trying to put this shit together. Finally got all the panels together. What should have been a 3-day job took me like 2 months, almost 2.5 months. Right? I mean, not working full time, but just like at the pace that I could.
No, that's right.
And then,
But there's got to be a point.
But then-
in 2 months,
but
where
then
you're
you
just
gotta-
like, fuck this shit.
you've got to raise the barn, right? Because now you've got to get all the panels up. And I'm like,
Sean.
so I hadn't tapped Sean then. I had all these other resources out there.
Oh, this is pre-Sean.
Pre-Sean.
Okay.
So I look at the manual and it's like, it's ideally you want 3 people, 2 people to hold the panel and a third person to bolt the panels together. So,
Yeah.
or if you don't have that, you can lean 2 like planks of wood, like 2x4s together, like that, just to hold the pieces up. So I tried that, and almost got crushed by fucking aluminium panels. So then I called my other mate, Michael, who's a builder, and he came round, and the level of expertise it took him to complete the shed, like, because he measured everything up.
Yeah.
He said, are you putting it on this concrete slab in the carport? I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, this isn't level. So you're going to have to get some angles to kind of bring this level. Otherwise, it's going to be, you won't be able to bolt it because none of the panels will line up. So he's gone, I'll just go to some metalworks place and get them to carve you some custom. Like, how the fuck was I? That's not in the instruction book. How am I meant to know that?
It's not easy.
Then he comes back and he runs like a, what do they call it? Like a straight line, like a string line across.
Sure.
So, to make sure that's all level. And then he goes round one by one and he's bolting all these things. And then he's like, oh yeah, but you're going to are you planning on putting stuff on the ground inside the shed? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, it's not waterproof.
Nah.
So do you want to put some sealant around that? I'm like,
Easy.
yes. Yes, I do want to do. Like, how the fuck is anyone like me meant to get anything done in life?
I mean, it's easier to build. It's just not easy to build well.
Yeah, but like they market it as, is it I felt like they were marketing to guys like me, which is
but they
little soft boys who don't work with their hands for a living. But you had to be a qualified builder to put this thing together.
I mean, it's like sheds are a thing that you
Professionals
can't,
have to assemble. Why? Yeah, I don't know, man. It's marketing. Where's Tyler, Dad, when you need him?
So I think, because yes, you've clearly got Airtasker, Hire a Hubby, these sort of things. But this is
advice
more than it is.
Dadvice.
They can do some stuff.
Do we call it Dadvice?
Dadvice?
Oh, that
Not
sounds
bad,
like
actually.
dads with vice, though. Vices, Dadvice.
Well, maybe we sell some weed and stuff on the side. Just to fund it.
Yeah, right.
Little Dadvice.
Then Dadvice some edibles.
Yeah, Dad'll bring round 6 bourbon cans and give you a bit of a talking through the tax process.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Or,
So it's
or maybe the
Dadvice.
first meeting's like a telehealth where he does it via Zoom.
Oh, yeah.
And if you want premium service, he
He'll
brings
bring
over.
around some stubbies.
He'll bring around some snags and some beer.
And
give
have
you
a
some
proper
dad
chat
advice.
about,
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Dadvice.
Yeah.
We partner with Pram Sport. So if you have too many beers, someone can wheel you home. All right, I'm down with that.
All right.
Are we done?
I mean, with the podcast forever, or just this episode?
I think this episode.
I think this episode. I think we're done.
Okay.
I mean,
All
these are just bonus episodes. We're recording a big bunch in a day. I feel like we've actually got to
tapped
go.
out.
We've
We
got
have
to
to
go
actually
and
go
do
do
a
a live
live
show.
So,
Look, once again, thank you to everyone for your support throughout the year. It's been amazing. If there's anyone who you think would like to support this show, they may, they listen to one of the podcasts. Maybe just encourage them just to throw us a shekel or two. We want to actually supercharge Patreon and give you more content more regularly. So this
which is what
part
we
of
are
that
trying
process.
to do. Yes.
And we do that with your support. But I'm not sure when this episode's coming out. If Christmas has happened, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
If it hasn't,
Happy New Year.
Happy
to
New
you all.
Year. Yeah. Good luck to you
Yeah.
and happy holidays. I'm Charlie Clausen.
I'm Will Edison.